Alright, Blizzard, let's talk heroes. Fatty. I don't think we have a picture for that. This submission comes to us from Hawkray, so, thank you very much for that. One of the main reasons I'm doing this one is, one, his build looks really, really cool for this as a weird kind of specialist, almost support kind of specialist, but we'll get to that. But also because I haven't done anything non-Diablo for this series yet, so I kind of have to fix that. And this one, while I'm not really super familiar with StarCraft 2 or the units that it produces, this one looked really cool to me, so I'm excited to be doing this one as well. Now, he's graciously provided us with some kind of an image, which is nice because before I started this video, I started looking at the units that are in StarCraft 2, and I have no idea what this is supposed to be. I typed in, like, StarCraft Bile Carrier. Evidently, that's not a thing. Like, Google kept redirecting me to, did you mean StarCraft Bike Carrier? So I don't know what this is supposed to be. Maybe this is literally handmade from the ground up by you. Maybe this is by somebody else and you just got the image from somebody. I don't know. But either way, thank you for providing an image because I have no idea what this thing was supposed to look like otherwise. So his combat trait is Juicy. That sounds kind of gross, but that's bread and butter for the Zerg by this point. Fatty uses fluids in his body as his resource, which caps at 100. Killing enemy minions restores 20 juice each, and a hero takedown refills it instantly, and not entering combat rapidly refills it over 2.5 seconds. Okay, so that says to me that he's got his own resource, and he gets it back very quickly. So that means his abilities can't be high impact, because otherwise it's too broken right out of the gates. So they've got to be low impact, but something he can rapidly cast, because his resource is just always coming back super fast. That's okay, I like that, that's good. And I like how he's got his own little resource, you've given it names and stuff like that, so that's good. Alright, his Q is Sticky Egg, starts up to 3 charges, got a very short cooldown on it, very low mana, or the juice cost, but I guess the juice cost is kind of superfluous when it comes back that fast. So 3 charges, flings an egg onto a target unit. After 1.75 seconds, the egg bursts and unleashes 2 swift broodlings that last up to 7 seconds. They can be killed with these. Alright, so I don't see any damage being listed there, so 3 charges, quick cooldown. I'm going to assume it's very minor damage on the egg burst, especially when the broodlings will do additional damage over time. So, like, I look at that kind of like Zagara's little planetary bomb drop thing. I don't play Zagara, so I don't know what it's called. But it's her little ability that spawns the Zerglings on it, as well as Nazeebu's spider. So either way, you're going to be getting something that's going to be nibbling for little nickel and dime damage, which, as an avid Nazeebu fan, that adds up fast. Like, that adds up really fast with the spider. So, like, that's not a bad thing. Each target can only be the host of 1 egg at a time, which is nice. Like, it says on less talented, so I guess you could fix that. But for the get-go, that's good. That's a little bit balanced. That means you can't, with a short cooldown and 3 charges, that means you can't go, ooh, a Vala, egg, and then you've got the little freaking broodlings going after them too. So that's good. Even if you talent it, that still wastes a talent slot to give that to you, so you can burst somebody down, which is fine. So that's okay. That's good balance. Broodlings prefer targets densed in fungal virulence. That's your E, it looks like, and gain shields when attacking said enemies. Okay, that's good. So, like as he says, they can be killed with ease, but you can give them a little bit more lastability, survivability. Let's use a real word here, by hitting them with your E and then Qing them. So that works. Your W is Oozdos. Oozdos. Is that really the best name for it? It just sounds weird to say it out loud. Oozdos. It sounds weird. Longer cooldown. Spit out a blob of ooze that breaks on impact with any unit. Ooze then bounces 5 times between allied units, healing health, prioritizing nearest heroes. Oh, okay. Alright, that's interesting. So as I said, like, this is, he's classified as a specialist, but he's got support abilities too. I'm gonna just refer to Fatty as a he, just for the sake of it. I'm not trying to assume it's gender, it's just, yeah. This is just, it's better than saying it repeatedly, because I'm not gonna remember to do that. So yeah, that's really cool though, and that's why it has such a long cooldown, because a lot of time, actually, are there specialists that can do healing? Besides, like, Murky healing himself with his bubble. Yeah, I don't think there are. I can't think of any anyway, so that's cool. I like that. I like you've included that in there, because that means this guy isn't just going to be all damage, all lane pushing all the time. Your E is fungal virulence. Yeah, no, virulence. Is that a word? I don't think virulence is a word either, so whatever. E is that. I can't read. Splash an enemy with acids, marking all enemies struck, increasing the damage took by 15% for 3 seconds, and slowing their movement by 20%, doubled against minions. Turns enemies, leave a short shelter behind them, slowing enemies that slow other enemies standing in it. Alright, so I do have a bit of an issue with this one here, and that this is an ability that is way, way better than Tyrande's trait. Because Tyrande's trait can mark it for additional damage. I don't think it's 15%. I actually think it's a little bit more than that. I can't quite remember off the top of my head. But either way, that hits an area of them, and slows them, and doubles against minions, and slows enemies further if the one that you marked runs ahead of his buddies. Like if you mark a Vala and it vaults forward, now it's leaving a trail that its friends are being slowed by. That is way too good. So what I would say for this one is maybe lower the damage increase to 5%. I know that sounds like you're just kneecapping the ability, but with the slow and the double against minions and the additional slow they're providing by trying to run from you, that's way too much for an ability. For a basic ability, untalented. That's what I think. That's just my 2 cents. I know that is a heavy cost ability, but again, cost doesn't mean much when your juice just comes right back to you. And I know the cooldown's really big, so if they're smart, they'll leg it, but again, they can't leg it because you've slowed them, so that's what I'm gonna say. It just seems like it's too good. Like right away, it just seems like it's too good. So that would be my augmentation. I might even opt to take the damage out entirely, but then you better, like the splash of the E ability itself, better do at least a little bit of damage on its own. Because right now it doesn't say any damage, but you don't have damage written for any of these. So I would say either lower the damage increase, or take it off entirely and just add a base damage to it. So when you hit them, you do a little bit of damage and you slow them. And honestly, this should be doing a little tiny bit of damage anyway, just so it unmounts them. Because I've noticed that with a lot of things, like Cassia's blind doesn't even do like 1 point of damage, so it doesn't unmount people. So you can't just jump on them after that. They'd be like, oh, I'm blinded, fuck that noise, ride my horse away. So that's what I would say, is add like a base modifier damage for it to begin with, but make it a little bit better if you're going to cut the damage entirely. His heroic abilities. Transmute. Fatty takes his sweet time and chews on a leader enemy minion. Are you being sarcastic in an ability description? That's weird. After 4 seconds of channeling, the minion dies and Fatty's team gains experience equal to half of a heroic takedown. Okay. That's not bad. That's a weird pick for a heroic that is solely for gaining experience. I see that it's free, and it would help you stay ahead in levels. Like, it's not a bad ability to take if you're like behind in levels when you get there, but then you've essentially kneecapped Fatty for the rest of the game as far as like team fights go. Like, and this is definitely not a guy who's supposed to split off and push lanes. Like, none of his abilities are towards pushing lanes or killing minion towers or things like that. Like, he's supposed to be in the fight because he's a healer and he marks things down and he slows them and he gives them additional damage. He's not supposed to be pushing on his own. So once you take transmute, you've essentially guaranteed that he can't do anything with his ult. You've taken abilities away from him. So that's an interesting tactic to go with, and I've never seen that mechanic before. So I don't want to say take it out, but I feel like that needs to do some more. All right, let's go with this. I like it. I would definitely lower the amount of channeling needed. 4 seconds is way too long for this to be of any use, because think like post level 10. Like, you get this at 10, you start helping your team gain a little bit more levels over your opponent. That's great. You use this whenever possible. You can kill a leader enemy minion, like the little mage guys, far faster than 4 seconds by just like throwing Nazeebu spiders at them, or hitting them with Arthas D, or any of that stuff. Way faster than that. And if your team doesn't if you're not in constant communication with your team being like, I took transmute, like, don't kill the enemy mages, I'll do it, so we can get more experience out of it. If you're not in constant communication, or hell, if they're just a little bit more rambunctious about pushing a lane, you will be losing out on so much value. In all honesty, I kind of feel like this needs to be an instant. Like, you instantly kill them, you get the health globe, and you move on. And then you have a 90-second cooldown, because the cooldown itself is what's going to hold this ability in check. You don't need to slowly whittle them down and eat the thing. You just need to be like, it's instantly devoured, experience for all, 90-second cooldown. If you want, raise the cooldown a bit more, but 4 seconds is too much. Like, you're never going to get value out of this talent because your allies are going to kill it, or while you're sitting there eating this thing, you're going to get ganked. Because I can't imagine Fatty has a whole hell of a lot of health, and he has no escaping abilities. Like, yeah, you could mark something and slow it down, but that's the argument of a Zul's escape ability. Yeah, you have an escape, you cage them and run. Things can break out of that, so, yeah. I would definitely kill the 4 seconds of channeling entirely on this if you want to go this route entirely. Volatile costs all of your juice. Now, I'll spoil something that I read through a bit of the talents, and I know at least there's a level 1 talent, you can actually see it on screen right now, that increases your juice pool to 150. I'm kind of wondering if this is supposed to be, if this is just a flat 100 juice, or if this is supposed to be 100% of your capacity for juice to cast this. Just a thought. Because I'm not sure if you just wrote this and then didn't think to go back and change it, or if that's actually just be like, 100, that's it. So you gain 10% movement speed over 2 seconds, and then Fatty explodes, dealing 30% of all nearby enemies maximum health over 6 seconds while slowing their movement speed by 10%. Depending on the percent of health remaining that he had, his death timer is shorter, up to 10% of the original duration. One, that is how you do a Tyrael death timer, right? I'm just going to say, because that's an argument people have been making, that his trait is kind of shitty for a tank. Like, he dies, and then he gives the hug of death, then he's stuck on a normal cooldown. People were arguing that, Tyrael's death timer should go down based on how many enemies he hits, which I agree with. This is a way to, like, kind of meet that, which I like. That said, I've also never seen an ultimate ability that blows you the fuck up. And I like that, because that's a Zerg thing to do. You sacrifice yourself for the greater good of your overall goal, which is victory. So you're sacrificing your unit to make the swarm win. That is a Zerg heroic. I like that. It also seems to fit with the way you've got Fatty set, because like something like this, I would picture like a boomer from like Left 4 Dead, or like something else, something that looks like it's going to be ready to burst at any point, because it's always wriggling, and it's gross looking, and it's oozing. So that fits. I also like how you get a bit of a movement speed, so you can just run at them and then blow up. 30% of nearby enemies' maximum health is also really, really good. I wouldn't go too much higher than that, because it's basically like a Greymane ult, which now people like swear by that silver bullet ult, which is good. Because I used to see a lot of people go for the throat, but now that 30% max health is just, it's so good. And the fact that you have to kill yourself to get it off offsets the fact that you're hitting a group of enemies. Now, that said, I don't see any kind of mark for how big a radius this is. I would make it somewhat sizable. I would make it on par with, I want to say ETC's mosh pit size, or a little bit less than that. Because that's not a huge radius like a Ring of Frost, but it's small enough that but it's not too small that it's going to be a pointless use. Like, you have to get right up in their face and blow them up, and you'll get like one guy. You want this to hit a team. You want to use this to like run in the enemy team in a team fight and stop the team fight cold. You want that. Now, 2 things I would suggest for this would be possibly making some kind of a sound notification that he's going to do this. I don't know what you would make for that, but that way the enemy team does have a valid opportunity to get out of the way. Because while, yes, this does take you out of the fight entirely, it does seem a little unfair that you could be like, Cursed Hollow. The curse always spawns right near a couple of bushes. Last second, you get they get in there like a few seconds before you run in and just blow them the fuck up. And, honestly, with how many bushes are around that, there's no way to really predict which one that's going to be in unless you have proper vision control, and some heroes don't have that capability. Yeah, I would make some kind of a notification that's like, shit, I hear it, where is it? Panic, and run. Or, I want to say lower the damage, but I don't want to say lower the damage. No, you know what, just give it some kind of notification. Just forget what I said. Just make some kind of way to make this fair for the other team. Because it's really good, and it's unique, and it's fitting for the theme, but you gotta make it fair, too. Because otherwise it's broken, and nobody likes broken abilities, because that's why I fucking hate Valera. So, yeah. He also has a special mount. Underground, Fatty cannot mount, but he can expel all juice in 1 second and start moving at 20% attack speed, half burrowed. While underground, he does not regenerate any juice, but it does work like a mount. So he gains additional speed, but he has no reserves when he pops out of the ground. But his trait gives him back juice really, really fast. So, I mean, take it or leave it, right? If you want to get around fast, you can't be... Yeah, no. That's pretty balanced. Now, that said, it says half burrowed. What the hell does half burrowed mean? Does that mean you can take damage and be unmounted? Or does that mean you can't be hurt, but when you pop out, you have no resources to fight back? Because I could see that being argued in either way. Either you can be hurt, and it works like a normal mount, or you can't be hurt, but in exchange, when you pop out, you're basically fucking worthless until you get that juice back. And if you pop out in a fight to help out, you don't get the passive juice comeback. You have to wait for your ally to get a kill so you get your juice back and you can start participating in the fight. So, whichever way you choose to go with this, it could be interesting. It could work out either way. So, I'm not even going to say it should be this or it should be this. You tell me. You, as the creator, you tell me which way it's supposed to be, because there's an argument for either side. And onto the talents. Level 1 talents is larger sacks. That's funny. Juice pool increased to 150. Minion deaths restore 25 juice now instead of just 20. I believe it was 20, right? It was 20. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. And like I said, the only thing I have on this one is, I like how this is a level 1 talent. Does this include Volatile's top count? Like, does it increase how much you need to use Volatile, or is that just capped at 100? But beyond that, I like this talent, and because it's a resource-based unit, you definitely want this. Assimilate, it's a questing talent. Killing leader minions grants a stack of Assimilate. After 10 stacks, reduce the cost of all abilities by 10. I do like that as well, and that does chain nicely with your ultimate. That said, it's very easy to get 10 leader minion kills, especially when you can just, like, E them and then Q them, and then they burst with the eggs. It'd be really easy to pull that off within, like, the first 2-3 minutes of the battle, especially if you focus just on that to get your cooldowns or your costs. But I think I would raise that up, because even then, the bit like... Oh, would you raise that up, though? Because winning that quest, yeah, it lowers the cost of your abilities, but your abilities are already pretty cheap when your resources come back like the speed of sound, so maybe you leave that one as it is. I don't know. I can't see myself taking that. The reward's not good enough because my ability, my juice comes back so fast. I sound really weird saying it like that. Ventral Spit, increase the cast and bounce range by 30%. I know that's referring to your W, but you didn't list that. Correct that. In the description, list that this covers your W specifically, because you know you're gonna have people who are gonna ask. This ties into when I used to make a lot of games on RPG Maker. You have to plan for both the people who will do things out of spite and the idiots of the world. You have to plan for people who are going to be too stupid to figure out what you're talking about when you think you're being very basic, and you have to plan for the people who are going to go out of their way to try and spite you by going against what you've planned. So this cuts out both of that. You just say that it's for your W. Feasting Spores. Increases vulnerability to 20% and double... And once... Okay. That maybe I would actually... When I said earlier that the E does too much, maybe make what it does now into this talent. Like, lower that, as I said, and then make its base value there into this talent, and also up the level you get this talent at. Level 1, and this is too good. Make this a level 7 or a 13. And double the effect of Mercenaries. I don't know if I'd double it to Mercenaries, because I don't... Did you even list that it does Mercenaries? It just says Minions. It says double effect of Mercenaries. I would say just have this include Mercenaries. Not just suddenly you're doing double damage, or you're doing double the effect on them. Just have it apply to them. Because you didn't list that it does it to Mercenaries originally, so this should just add Mercenaries to the pool of valid targets for this to hit. That's what I say. Level 4 talent, stacking up, units can carry more than 1 egg. That's not bad. As I said, this allows you to burst somebody down with 3 eggs and 6 broodlings on them, which is fine. And it's a level 4 talent, it's not level 1, so I'm okay with that. I might make the argument that you could bump this to 7 and it would still be valid, but it's not a bad pick at 4. Broodling Revolution, deploying eggs on enemy heroes increases the duration of broodlings by 0.2 seconds, up to 2 seconds. At max stats, doubles their speed. Okay, that's pretty good. I like that, and doubling their speed is really good for... I have noticed that faster heroes can get away from Nizibu's spiders and Zagira's little zerglings, so this could help combat that. So, not a bad pick. I like that talent. Concentrated Ooze, increase healing by 20% and prioritizes the hero with the lowest current health. Very, very good. I like that talent. Only thing I would make the argument for is, again, make sure you specify it's for your W, because people might be stupid about it. But beyond that, I like that talent and I wouldn't change it. Flinging Appendages at level 7 increases egg fling distance by 25% and removes the 0.5 seconds delay between casts. So you could just go pew 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 and they're dead. Like, that's good. I like that. And because of that, I can kind of see why you wouldn't move stacking eggs up to 7, because then you have to choose between the two. So, yeah. Double dose throws up to 2 charges with 0.75% delay between casts. Again, I know you're using icons for all of these. This is the last time I'm going to bring it up. Specify what ability this is for. Specify this is for your W. Plague now deals a shit ton of damage to the main targets over the duration. Okay, see, so this does say this does actually add damage to it, which means you didn't have a base damage on it before, and I would fix that. I would at least make it do 1 tick of damage so you unmount them. That's what I would say about that. Now, also beyond that, adding this to everything that E does right now is too good, so you still definitely need to nerf that E. And Immolation Acid, Brooding attacks burn for additional 50% damage over 2 seconds. I don't have a problem with that. I like the damage over time tick. It kind of adds a Nazeebo or Lunara effect to the damage, which is good, because a Zerg unit definitely feels like it should have a poison-ish ability to it, and I don't know if any of them actually do. Maybe Zagara's kit has something for that. Again, I don't play Zagara, but it feels like it fits for the Zerg is to have something that does damage over time. Level 10. I actually like how you wrote it again. You basically just gave them, like, the gist of the abilities in case they didn't read it above that, so cool, but blah, 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 we've already read it. Level 13 is all about buffing that Q. Larger Shell. Enemy egg carriers move 25% slower while an ally egg carrier gains shield equal to that. You can cast it on your allies? Okay. That's interesting. I guess he did specify that the broodlings will jump off and attack the nearest enemy unit, prioritizing people who are stacked with E. So I guess that does make sense. If you've got a tank running in there, like if you got a Diablo on your team, you throw an egg shield on him, and he dives in there, and then it bursts, dealing damage to somebody, and then the broodlings jump in too. That's a cool... I didn't even think about using that. So I like this talent not only for giving a shield and slowing enemies down, because it would make sense you're weighted down now, so but also for inspiring people to be like, yeah, you can use this on an ally. Do that. The only thing I will say is you definitely need to point out that if you take, what is it called again? Stacking up, you can't stack the slow. If you can stack the slow, that's too good, and you automatically better be taking this, regardless of what the other abilities are. So don't let it stack. 25% is more than enough slow. It is. Especially when you put your E on them, too. You don't need any more slow. Poached. Eggs take 1 second longer to hatch, but emit a burning aura around the carrier, dealing damage over 5 seconds. That's not bad. I don't really know if you need to have the extra 1 second on that. You could probably just make it do the extra damage, but I haven't done the math on it, so that's fair. And spontaneous evolution. Broodlings become aberrations after 2 seconds, gaining double health and duration. Again, not a bad thing. If you want to build like a straight-up minion-based version of this, you can do that, so not a bad thing. Level 16 talents. Surprise! Upon death, spawn 8 broodlings. While dead, heroic takedowns reduce death timer by 2 seconds. I like that. I like that because that chains very well if you take volatile at 10, so you can come back even faster to do it again. And when you die, you basically blow yourself up with volatile, and then you surprise into a bunch of broodlings, and then if anything dies from all that combined damage plus your allies being there, you're going to come back really fast. I really like that. I would almost make that a 20 talent. I like it so much. Global infestation, increase the area of effect by 33%, and allies can carry a trail of spores. I don't really know how the allies get spores. I guess it's because of your E, so I guess if you hit them with your E, how could you hit them with your E? Okay, so the way I think this is working is, since your E is an area of effect thing, if you've got an ally in that when you cast it, then they also will carry the spores so they can run up ahead of the enemies trying to flee and slow them down. I think is what you meant. The other thing is, global infestation doesn't make sense when it doesn't give you global range. You're going to be misleading people with the name itself, so change the name of that. Remnant Agent, Fungal Virulence, spawns a broodling with 50% of its maximum health as a shield. That also leaves a trail and leaps at heroes. Again, not a bad thing, and it doesn't make the E more broken than it is, so I like that. That's good. Level 20 talents, final. Enhanced Learning, increase the experience to 75% of a hero takedown and reduce the channel to 2 seconds. Again, you shouldn't have a channel on that to begin with, so cut that part out entirely. And if you're going to take this level 20 and you're still worried about experience, this has got to do something else. I would actually scrap this entire talent and give him something else entirely. Like if you took Transmute at 10, how about at level 20, if you made it to 20 with that talent and you not having a valid ultimate for the entire game, you get an attack at 20 for taking that. That's locked into only if you took Transmit. I don't know what, or Transmute. I don't know what that would be, but I would definitely not make it a further experience gain because you're past 20. You don't need experience anymore. Like, yeah, okay, good, you could get a couple more levels of your allies. You don't need it anymore. You need damage. You need coring. You need stuff that's going to hurt the enemy core. So at 20, this should not be an experience talent at all. You should change this entirely. Give them some benefit to taking the... I'll say what it is. The crappier of the two heroic abilities at level 10 and reward them with a late game ramp. Like a late game superpower. Not something broken, but something that makes it worth going the extra mile to help out the team as a support, rather than being a specialist or an assassin. That's what I suggest. feel free to correct me if this is your vision. I don't want to mess with it, but that is my suggestion. You don't need experience after 20. Last aid. Upon exploding, grant allies in area affect a shield equal to 40% of their maximum health for 7 seconds. I like that. It fits in with the theme of the self-destruct. You run into that. You run into a team fight. You blow up. Hey, guess what? Now your allies have a really good chance to not get team wiped. So I like that. Don't change that. Hidden power. Activate to have all abilities cool down 100% faster and gain 25 juice over that. I don't mind that. It's pretty good. I almost think surprise is better. You know what? Yeah, I would say switch hidden power and surprise. Surprise is so much better. That's all I'm gonna say about that one. Would you kindly? Are we really going for a Bioshock reference in Fatty's hero concept of all things? Activate to infect a mercenary camp, capturing them, increasing their attack speed by 50%. 100-second cooldown. That seems too good. I would stipulate that this needs to have... Oh, it's 20 talent, though. No, that's too good. That's too good, even out of 20 talent. You gotta make that so it's like, the camp has to be 50% taken or something. Like, with Siege Giants, if you've killed one of them and you're fighting the other one, you can instantly take it. But that's a shittier bribe. But you can do it instantly. But it's got 75% cooldown. But I figure level 20 running into a mercenary camp with 4 of the mercenaries and instantly taking that and giving them a buff seems too good. That needs some tweaking. I don't know what it needs specifically, but it needs tweaking. And then Bolt of the Storm is Bolt of the Storm. So that was Fatty. This is just giving more a description of it. Yeah, okay, that's it. So yeah, that was Fatty. Very, very interesting character. As I said, he's marked as a specialist. I would argue he's more of a support. I would make that argument because you've got your heal, you've got your CC, and you've got your 1 damaging ability. That's generally the basis of a support in this game. But you've got him built as a specialist. I can definitely see how he could be a specialist because specialists, in my eyes, a specialist is always a character that plays out of the norm. Like Murky. Murky is a great example of a specialist because he plays so far from the normal capabilities of a character that he's his own thing. Lost Vikings, same thing. This guy here, he's got an ultimate that literally blows him the fuck up to deal effect damage. That's his own thing. Nobody else has that. So I would make the argument that, yeah, specialist is good. But he's kind of a support too. So I really like this. Definitely need some number tweaking. You need some damage laid down in places. You need to fix a couple of things here and there. But overall, I would play this. I'd play this right now. I absolutely would just take Volatile and blow myself the fuck up at every opportunity. But that's just me. So if you guys like this build, or if you had any suggestions for how Fatty should be incorporated into the Nexus, leave a comment for us below here and we'll definitely check it out. I got so much response from the Mephisto build last time. I love it. Like, I love that people are discussing these and analyzing these and offering their own suggestions for these things. It's really cool, and I'm sure that the people who created these really appreciate it as well, because it's giving them more spotlight. It's giving them more focus than they would have gotten if they just stayed as an article. And I'm not trying to say I'm doing a lot here, but I like to think that I'm at least giving them a little bit more shine. I hope. So if you have any suggestions for characters you want me to review, if you've got your own hero concepts, throw me the links. I'd be happy to review them. I definitely need to do more than just Diablo characters, but I'm already feeling that nostalgia to come back. So, in the meantime, Blizzard, make this a thing.